There's a spark in every story, every voice that's finding ground. From the lake up to the sky, hear the strength in every sound. We've been building, we've been dreaming, learning as we go. Every chapter, every season, letting courage show. This is where we rise together, where our stories come alive. Strong and bold in every way, watch the women of Lake Norman shine. This is our time, this is our voice. Welcome women of Lake Norman.
Hello, happy Monday, and welcome back to another episode of the Lake Norman Woman Podcast. Katie, we just had Valentine's Day.
I know.
How was
Did you
it?
get chocolates and roses
You know
and
what?
kisses
I'm
and all of the above?
I'm just not big on that kind of stuff.
No, me
Like,
neither.
all right, you're not either.
Oh,
are
I
you?
like chocolate.
I
and
like
I like
chocolate.
flowers,
I
but
like
not on
flowers,
a day.
but I don't have to have like this whole thing for the day.
Right.
That's not really like. It doesn't do that much for me. I'm more like words of affirmation is the best gift you can give me. So if you could just be like, "You're doing a great job," and I can tell. Like that's I don't
You're
need
doing a great job, and
Thank
I
you.
love you.
Happy Valentine's
Happy
Day.
Valentine's Day.
That's all I really need. And so Rob a couple years ago, and he's so sweet, and I love him so much. And he was buying me like the big bouquets that I know, and we have the same. We share a bank account, so like
So it's not even like he's giving it to you.
I know how much you spend on this. And so I'm like, you don't have to do that. Like, you can go to the grocery store, or you can go to one of our local florists and just ask for a bouquet and put it in. We have a billion vases at our house. Put it in a vase we have. That's all I need. Write me a note that says, like, you notice how hard I work, or you love me for just being me. I don't have to perform or be or do anything for you to love me. That's all I need. What about
See,
you when it comes to that kind of stuff?
Valentine's Day doesn't really do anything for me.
No.
Because I'm like, you shouldn't have to set a day aside to show your love and affection.
Exactly.
Like for me, it's like, you can buy me flowers all year
take them
round,
now.
and I will definitely take them. But having that constant communication of, hey, I love you. Hey, I see you. Hey, I appreciate you. Not for your gold star, but just in healthy communication and relationships.
Yeah.
So, I'm one where I'll enjoy the chocolates. Actually, what we always used to do, because we would be in Daytona for Valentine's Day
With racing.
my entire life,
Right.
is my uncle would always go to the Walgreens after Valentine's Day.
Love it.
And get all the chocolates that were on sale. So he would come home with like his 50% off or 75% off chocolates. And my cousin, myself, my mom, our family would just go to town eating all the discounted chocolates.
They taste just as good the day after, you know.
It tasted just as good, and they weren't like $50.
Yeah, so the
we
Monday,
joke
yes.
that kind of has become now a tradition since he's been gone. Of like, I'll text my cousin like, "You been to Walgreens yet?" And Natalie's like, "Hey, are we going to Walgreens?" And so it's one of those silly things that have become a memory, a core memory for us. That's what matters. The giggles, the smiles, the love that's what's important.
So my dad, from when I was a teenager up until really just the last couple of years, he still sends a card every year. But from the time I was a teenager until I think I was in my 20s or maybe even my 30s, my dad sent me 5 red roses every year for
Aw,
Valentine's Day.
That's sweet.
And my sisters too, not just me. Like all
there's
of
a whole
us.
bunch. That's a dozen roses.
There's 4 of us. Yes.
That's 2 dozen roses.
Yeah, so we would get 5 red roses every year for Valentine's Day. A couple of reasons, because like he's like, you should feel loved whether you have a relationship or not. And others, so like some guy brings you roses and you're not going to be like, oh, like my dad already does this. Like step it up, pal, right? Like do something different. Do something different to show how much you care, rather than just like the regular flowers and chocolates and, you know, a card that you just wrote your name in. So always really appreciate that. Dad would always sign it from like your first Valentine is what he would always say.
Sweet.
So it was
there's
always
something
really
different
sweet.
about getting flowers from your dad versus getting flowers from a boyfriend or husband, for sure.
Right. And it was always fun because at my school, at least growing up, they would call you in to get, if you got flowers delivered to this, he would have them delivered to the school.
Oh, we never had that.
So you could have them delivered to the school. So everybody's going up and whatever their boyfriend got them. And it was always like, oh no, these are for my dad. They're like, your dad? And I was like, yeah, I got a good dad. Like,
oh,
yeah,
that's sweet.
It was
we
always
never
so
had that.
sweet.
I don't think we ever did anything for Valentine's Day. Well, no, I take that back. We would get those little paper Valentines, and you had to do everybody in your class because everybody had to get one. But the little paper ones, that's what we did.
Those were always sweet. And I love a conversation heart anytime too.
Oh, those are the
They're so
best.
good.
I love those things.
I love them too.
I think they're just like sugar and chalk. But That's like a core memory too.
I know, they're so good. So it's always fun to just think about. For Natalie, do you ever have any kind of, as we're thinking about Valentine's Day traditions, things like that?
No, I mean, we were always in Florida. And so it was always family time together, going to the beach, Walgreens afterwards. Like, we don't have anything that's like too big or shattering.
When your life kind of
crazy.
revolves around the sport and the season too, it makes it tough to
it's
do
the
some of
first
those
race
things.
of the season. It was always like go, go, go. It's chaos up until that point. And then, okay, now the normal season starts because Dad's always at the racetrack or whatever. But no, it was kind of always like, this is just our reset of let's go enjoy Florida for a little bit. But now we just stay home. We've actually stayed home since 2018. So I think since the year Uncle Steve died, we've stayed home, and it's just kind of another day.
Nice. It's nice to have though. Like,
we eat conversation chalks, tarks, hearts, and call it good.
Yeah, that's always fun. Anything else you guys have coming up that you're excited about?
Oh, I mean, everything. I'm really excited. Like, this has been it's been a hard winter. It's been an actual winter down here.
Yes.
And so that whole concept of like going within and preserving yourself and staying inside, and really nurturing what's growing. I mean, there's so many fabulous things that are coming. And there's also so much fabulous that's been going on. And so it's really nurturing where we are, and then also seeing what else we can bring to the table. So it's been a good little hermiting time for us.
We're ready for spring though.
Yes, I'm over it. We had before these storms, we had all of our flowers, and I don't know what type of flowers they were, but they were all popping out. And I'm like, ooh, girl, you're going to be freezing. And now they're frozen and dead. Yes. But I'm ready for warmth. I'm ready to be riding the horses. I'm ready to be enjoying the sunshine.
Yeah.
And not cold.
Yeah.
Not
I
freezing.
think we all are. I think
everybody's in that same boat.
We're all ready for it. All right. Well, we are going to take a break, but we'll come back and we'll talk to two people that you've introduced me to.
Yes.
Very excited for this. You guys, if you didn't know, my job before I did this, I taught marketing to attorneys. Sounds as much fun as it is, but I'm very excited to talk to these two attorneys.
You haven't talked to attorneys like this.
I've never talked to attorneys like this, and I'm so excited to talk to them. So we'll be right back on the Lake Normal Podcast.
Looking for deeper self-discovery and emotional growth? Soul to Soul Connection offers supportive space where horses help you understand your inner world in ways traditional talk therapy can't. Our certified professionals guide you through meaningful experiences that foster reflection, healing, and renewed perspective. Best of all, these services are offered at low or no cost for veterans, first responders, and their families. Learn more at healingwithhorseslkn.org and start your journey toward greater well-being today.
Shake things up, Lake Norman. Great design for you is here. We bring luxury interior design to life, specializing in stunning kitchen and bath renovations. From conception to completion, we handle every detail. Every project is unique. Our expertise makes the difference. Visit our downtown Mooresville studio by booking your 100% risk-free appointment today at greatdesignforyou.com. Design beyond your dreams.
Welcome back to the Lake Normal Women Podcast. So excited to be back with you guys today. We have two fantastic guests I can't wait to talk to today and learn more about them. We have Andrea Wise. She's lived Andrea. I'm sorry. I knew I was going to get it wrong. That's why I paused, you guys. I'm so sorry. Andrea Wise has lived every chapter of the industry: competitor, horse owner, barn manager, founder of an equestrian startup that went international, and one of the industry's first major influencers. After 8 years as a real estate attorney, Andrea saw a clear gap. Equestrians needed legal protection from people who actually understood their world. Enter Claire Covington. With 18 years of experience as general counsel and managing partner, Claire has guided venture-backed startups and emerging brands throughout complex, high-stake deals. She brings strategic depth, business sophistication, and legal leadership that the equestrian industry has long been missing. Together, they founded Wise Covington PLLC, a boutique law firm built on one simple but powerful philosophy: contracts first, handshake second. From horse This says from horse sales and boarding. Yes, that's right. Okay. I'm making sure I'm getting this right. From horse sales and boarding, contracts to brand deals, and business formation, they're creating a new kind of legal space for the equestrian world, one that's built on understanding, trust, and protection. Both lifelong equestrians, both moms and both women who stepped away and came back stronger. Andrea and Claire are now using their legal training to serve the industry they love and help build a safer, smarter future for it. Thank you, ladies, for joining us today.
Thank you.
So excited to have you here. All right, equestrian law, Katie.
I know.
Did you know this was a thing?
I did when they texted
Now you
me
do.
and told me they were doing it.
All right.
It didn't surprise me at all, but when I got the phone call, I was like, oh,
That makes sense.
we need that.
Yeah, definitely
Because
needed.
there's so much that is not, it's like the old
Yes.
handshake. It's
Yes,
the backyard
exactly.
deal. There's no contracts. There's no understanding. We say horse people aren't the best business people because they don't know.
And there are large transactions too. Whenever
Large,
you're
huge,
purchasing a
Large,
horse,
large transactions.
very large transactions too. And
We're
so
talking six-figure transactions on a regular basis that are not memorialized in writing. I mean, that's
Who
wild.
would do,
I can't believe that that's the thing. Yeah, so I guess obviously I'm not a horse person. I'm learning. I'm slowly learning all the different things about horses. I got my second.
We got her out to the farm.
I went to the
love
farm.
She's been to the farm once.
I got my second Tucker Tweed bag, so I'm almost there.
Excellent.
I'm
You
almost
are
there.
an equestrian.
But I'm
After that intro,
right. I'm ready to go. I'd love to hear about kind of the idea behind and how you guys met up with each other.
yeah. Well, I think I approached Claire towards the end of last year about the idea of starting a firm that specialized in equestrian law. I knew that she would totally get the vision. We're both lifelong equestrians. That's how we met. Probably, I was trying to think about this, I think 14 years ago in Davidson.
David, yep, 15 years
We were
ago.
both at the same barn. She came after me and we hit it off. You know, we were around the same age. I won't say who's older, but no, I'm just kidding. We were around the same age. We were both attorneys. We were both like newly married, and horses were our passion. So we definitely hit it off. And when I approached her, I knew she would totally get it. We combining our passion with our careers, it just made sense. And I think the idea of starting it this year, 2026, in the year of the horse, was so
yes.
exciting.
That is exciting.
For me, it sounds silly, but it was kind of like that last universe push to be like, this, you got to
Just
do
it.
this.
Yes.
I agree. I met Andrea, like she said, several years ago at the barn. I'll be completely honest. I saw her picture on Facebook, and I immediately said, I'll never be friends with that person. Here we are.
There you are.
15
Running,
years
not just
later.
friends, but running a business together too, right?
Friends and business
done it,
partners.
right.
So obviously it's been, a fun ride up to this point, literally. And I'm really excited to see where this goes because there's nothing like being able to combine, your professional background with something you love. People always say, you've got to love what you do and do what you love. And I feel like finally in my mid 40s, I'm having that opportunity and I'm thankful to do it with Andrea.
And it's so funny because I feel like it's such an obvious thing. Like, why did it take us so long? Because, I've been doing, and I'm sure Claire has too, some equestrian law the last 10 years on the side for myself, for friends.
So just writing contracts.
Writing
and things
contracts,
for people.
for
Asking
trainers, for the
questions.
owners
Yes.
of my barn, for myself when I lease out my horse. And I've always done it. And I'm always, looking for something to do. I'm very entrepreneurial.
She never stops.
And it's just, this was so obvious and in my face. And Claire and I have many times been like, what company can we start? And it's silly, but it was right there and we're excited about it.
I love that you guys had always kind of like throughout your friendship, just trying to thought together, what company can you start? I mean, that's such a fun way to kind of dream and plan and think about it too.
Because we've had so many life cycles together. We met before kids. We competed. We showed horses together. Then we had kids at literally the exact same time, 2 of them, same years. They're in the same grades. We live in the same neighborhood now. We do. And so it's kind of fun,
Yeah. So for people like me who may not understand all the intricacies of it. Now I'm going to get that word wrong. But all the things that go into it, right? What is it about the transaction? Or you said it was high dollar transactions, but what else goes in with it? And maybe Katie, you can shed some light on that too, since you've done it before.
Oh, I don't do transactions of their sizes.
No.
No, but having the people who
purchased
know
horses before,
yes, I've
right?
purchased horses. I've helped people purchase horses. The biggest thing is making sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and you know what to ask and you know what to look for. I know more of like the horse side of things, of like, yeah, let's buy this one. No, let's not. I'm more on this side of things, and that's when it's great to be able to say, well, call the girls because they can legally cover you, because so many different things can happen. And like they said, it's high dollar. This is not.
And it also, like, to point out, it doesn't have to be high dollar. You know,
Sure.
you can be buying a $20,000 horse that you should also be protecting your passion.
That's still
with
a lot of
that.
money,
and it's
though.
still a lot of
Yeah.
money. Okay, a $10,000, you know, even
Right.
10. Let's cut it in half. $10,000, you know, should still come with some sort of writing. Or if you're leasing out a horse that's only worth $10,000, you
I
know,
think that's a
have-
big area that people don't do, and I'm like, guys,
The terms are so
it's
vague.
So
scary.
let's talk about that. Leasing out a horse. What is that like? What would you guys do to kind of help with that process, and what does that look like?
I mean, it's the same sort of thing as any contract. You know, I think the biggest problem with a lot of the horse contracts are, one, trainers are writing it or ChatGPT. And so the terms are super vague. And so I think, you know, if you're leasing out an animal, everything sounds great until, say, you've had it for 6 weeks and all of a sudden it's lame, which means you can't ride it, you can't enjoy it. And say it stays lame for 8 weeks. And if you're leasing it, you're kind of like, well, I can't use this horse I'm paying for. Like, I'm just going to send it back. Well, can you send it back? Like, what does your contract say? Who's paying for the bills? And a lot of times those terms are just not in there. They're very vague. And so now all of a sudden there's an issue, and people,
fighting.
friendships are, you know, ruined, or, you know, it's too vague. You know, people don't know what to do and they're fighting about it.
Yeah.
So
The goal is to, you know, help define responsibilities at the very beginning of a relationship. And that way you don't get to the point 8 weeks down the road where you have to call your best friend up and say, hey, I'm sending the horse back. And they say, no, you're not. You're going to actually pay $6,000 in vet bills. And then you've lost a friend. You've lost a horse that you probably loved and really enjoyed riding. And you're left in a position of what are my recourses, right? We want to stop and set that relationship up in such a way that we never get to that point. So if we just go ahead and write everything down in the very beginning, everyone knows what's expected of them, what the responsibilities are, then we don't ever have to get to that situation further down the road.
Which, and you would think that's basic.
You would think it's basic,
business
but I almost
or basic relationship,
Right.
Basic friendship.
I think that, like, you make such a great point, because that's what we're trying to say. I think that the idea of having a contract with somebody who you, especially that you have a relationship with, or even if it's not your direct relationship, but you know that person through someone, when you say, let's do a contract, put it in writing, it has a negative connotation to it, I think, in this industry. And we're really just trying to normalize the idea of a contract, because our point of view is, you know, you're protecting the relationship that you have by putting it in writing. Like Claire said, having these clear guidelines so that when something does come up, there's no question. You know exactly what to do. There's no, like, trying to remember what you agreed to, because then you could be like,
or
well,
trying
that's
to
not
scroll
how.
through
Well,
emails
it's
and text
exactly.
messages.
And I
Yeah.
mean, you think about it, even Claire, like, we just established that we've been friends for 15 years. When we start this business, before we officially started, we did an operating agreement about the firm and how we're going to handle all the things that can come up in the business side of things.
Right.
Even though I totally trust Claire, I'm sure she trusts me, or
Likewise,
we
yep.
wouldn't have entered into
Right.
this partnership together.
Right.
It's still, you have to put that in writing, because we're preserving that relationship.
Well, it's like a prenup, you know, before you get married. It's the same thing, right? You're like, hope that nothing goes wrong, or insurance or something like that, like where you hope that nothing goes wrong, but you're just protecting yourself because things happen.
Right. And you're managing expectations that way.
Yes, exactly.
Very clearly. And that way those questions don't come up and you don't end up behind the 8 ball trying to figure out, oh gosh, what do we do now? We want to prevent those sort of experiences.
Yeah. So we talked about the leasing and kind of why you would need, but what in a transaction, like when you're purchasing a horse, what would you guys do to help with that transaction?
draft the documents, the sale documents, draft. I mean, there's so many documents that go into a horse transaction, but how is the horse going to get from point A to point B?
Who's insuring it?
Right. Who's going to maintain the insurance?
There's insurance on a horse?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
What?
That was
I just
And that's
learned
another
that
thing.
too.
We can, argue
Okay.
with insurance companies if they're not, paying out when you expect them to pay out on a policy, because
Yes.
those horse insurance companies are just like
Regular
insurance
insurance.
Just like regular insurance companies that
exactly.
don't want to
They don't
pay.
wanna pay.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
But we
Yes.
can help with due diligence. There's like Katie on her end of things, like knowing, the vet bill, like the vet pre-purchase
Or
exam.
what's happened with the
Yes.
horse before it gets to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're not just doing, leases and horse sales, but we're representing barn owners that bring in boarders. We're representing businesses like Katie who may have vendor contracts at certain places or are starting a business, or especially like in the equestrian space, just because that's our background. But it's not just like horse sales and leasing. There's transportation and insurance and so many different things.
So it is small business. I mean, it's
Right.
not just the buyer and the seller, or the lessor and the lessee. It's also, individuals that run a barn in their backyard. If you have a barn in your backyard and you think, oh, I'll let the neighbor down the street keep their pony here and their kid can come down and ride, that's lovely. I would love that idea. But in today's world, unfortunately, it's no longer a real safe thing to do in your own backyard if you don't have a disclaimer and a waiver signed and all of that. And, people want to print something off the internet and assume that that's going to cover everything. But we've seen over and over that that's not the best way to go.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that is what that is what is hard, is that you can chat GBT it now, or there's the print your free liability release. But if it's not checked, it's not as good as the paper that it's written on or printed on. And I think that's what so many, if you take it even, from that backyard person that's just going to let their neighbor come out and board, or to a bigger barn owner training facility, it doesn't matter what degree or level you're on, you have to have these pieces of paper in place, because God forbid something is going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing, if in the backyard example, if it does turn into a lawsuit, unfortunately, the first thing that the lawyer's going to ask when you make that phone call is, send me over your paperwork so I can review the documentation. And you don't want to have to say to that lawyer, oh, I don't have any documentation, because that's going to be a huge problem right there.
Yeah.
I think we, because we are equestrians and we were the weird horse girls in school, and we're still kind of the weird horse girls with some of our non-equestrian friends probably, but we're just trying to get people to protect their passion, because everyone in the equestrian industry is super passionate about being
Anybody who has like a high dollar, I'm
Yes,
going to say hobby. I know it's
exactly.
not a hobby, but yeah, like a high
it's a
dollar,
hobby. It's a
high
hobby.
dollar, like whether it's collecting classic cars or memorabilia or, anything like that, you're going to insure that, right? And so you insure the horse, but also you want to protect yourself in case anything goes wrong, because you never want to lose that investment that you've put in.
Exactly,
Yeah. It's so cool. Okay. I have a question though. I have a feeling that when you both went to law school, neither one of you were like, equestrian law is what you checked in the box. And I've never been to law school, so I don't know how it works. I don't know if you check a box or you raise your hand or you...
Now you just click.
No, you just click a button, whatever it is. My daughter's hoping to go to law school, next year. So what was it like? What was your path to kind of get here?
I'll let you go first.
Okay, so I actually wanted to do art law. That was
I've met an art lawyer before in my
Okay.
former life. I met an art lawyer. Yeah,
I had-
very
I
I did not
fascinating.
know that.
I didn't
There's
know
all
that
different kinds
either.
of law. You'll never.
I envisioned
Yes.
myself traipsing around Europe, and spending time with the Carabinieri in Italy and talking about stolen artwork from this gallery and this, And then, so that segued, because that's not a real easy thing to get into, as you can imagine. That segued into intellectual property, because art law is a branch of intellectual property. So I did a lot of work with trademarks and copyrights and had a wonderful time doing that. And then that led into false advertising, which kind of ties back into the horse world. We don't have to go too deep there, but you can see where maybe that would happen. And then got to do some fun litigation cases up in Chicago, which is where I went to law school and lived for a few years. And so it was really fun to come down to North Carolina and get to take a little bit of a step back once I had children, because that world was intense up there, and find a different option to combine the ideas of false advertising, intellectual property, and contracts. So
Yeah.
that's how I got here.
Yeah. What's kind of your path to get here?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I went to Wake Forest Law School, and I never really thought I was going to be an attorney. My idea was to just get my JD to like market myself better in the business world. And so I always thought that I would work in a corporation. And then, when you're in school and your summer breaks, they want you to get jobs. I can't think of what it's called. Summer
Internship?
associate,
Yes,
maybe.
internship, yeah.
And Wake just really was trying to push you into getting the law firm summer associate jobs, of course. And so I did that, and I started working for a small firm in Charlotte. And they offered me a job when I graduated, and I said yes, and worked there for 8 years doing commercial real estate law. So totally a different path than I, saw for myself. But
And then the horse was like horses were always kind of what you did growing up, or is that a
Yeah.
newer found passion?
I think we both started when we were young. When I was in elementary school, I had ponies and competed every weekend. My mom would take me out of school on Fridays, and I would compete. So I did that all through 15. I was 15 when I stopped. I got into high school and got into boys and parties, and you can't really go to horse shows every weekend when you're doing that. And so and honestly it was hard because I grew up in West Virginia. I went to high school in Maryland, and then my ponies were in Virginia, so they were like actually 2 hours from my house. So that was really difficult when you're 15 trying to 14 trying to do that. So it was probably time for me to step away. I was over it, but got back into it after I got married. So my husband, when we met and got married, he had no idea really about my background. And I'm like, I think I need a horse. And he's like, what? What do you mean you need a horse? I'm like, no, I definitely need a
Totally
horse.
normal dinner conversation.
And so, we bought Chloe, which Katie knows, in 2010. And I told Zach, my husband, oh, I'm not going to keep her for long. Like, I'm going to buy her, flip her, make money. And she's still around.
not
Katie's
going
going to see her next week.
She's not going anywhere.
She still hangs around. Yes. Claire, was a lifelong passion for you with horses?
Absolutely. I have the good fortune of being from Germantown, Tennessee, which is a suburb of Memphis. And Melanie Smith Taylor, who is a famous equestrian, she was an Olympian, 1984 Olympics, I believe, show jumping team. Her family farm was just down the street from our house. So they say you either have horses in your blood or you don't. And I grew up with them in my blood and had pretty much every birthday party when I was a little kid at the Hugh Frank Smith farm, which was Melanie's home farm. And it took off from there. I also quit at the age of 15. Went to boys and cars, boys and cars.
Yeah.
Then went to college and started writing again in law school, or actually after law school, because I could finally afford to do it again. My husband was also quite shocked when I said I was ready to buy a horse because he didn't know me a whole lot before then, and I hadn't ridden a whole lot. So,
isn't it fascinating that something that's been so ingrained in who you are, and you stop because of life happens.
Yes.
And then the both of them, that your husbands had no idea about how deep that runs.
As soon as you got a horse, like as an adult, was it just like you're right back in it? Did it take a little bit of like warming up to it again?
it took a little while to get comfortable in the saddle again and relearn those muscles. But yes, it came right back. I mean, the love is there. You don't ever lose that love for horses. It's just that sometimes you have to focus on other things to get back to that point.
Yeah. So for women, because my daughter, I said earlier, she wants to go to law school. She wants to be a family law attorney. Is kind of her journey. But I think now after this episode, she's like, "What? That's a thing?" Yeah, she may be calling you guys.
Kate, I'll give you their number.
Definitely. Because she adores horses. We've never had them. I'm learning. I'm doing exposure therapy at Katie's farm and trying to learn how to be around horses, but it's just never been anything that I've grew up with and not been comfortable around. But she absolutely adores horses. She would get 8 if I said okay. But for ladies who are listening, for young women that are listening, because she's my daughter has met with a couple of attorneys, and they all say we need good attorneys. We need good female attorneys. What advice would you kind of give to a woman who's listening right now?
Oh, man. I mean, so I did commercial real estate law, like I said, for 8 years uptown. And I can truly count on one hand. And actually, I can tell you, I only worked closed deals like on the other side with one other female attorney. And, even clients that would come in for closings would think that I was the paralegal, and I'd be like, no, I'm the attorney that's drafted all of your documents for your closing.
Tough. That's tough.
And I don't
tough.
think it's like that in all the industries, but for whatever reason, commercial real estate, you tend to be working with banks and, contractors on these big projects that are typically men. So, and then for whatever reason, I don't know why female attorneys don't gravitate towards that job, but I don't, my advice, I mean, I think she's doing it. You just go don't be afraid to take chances, grab what you want. I don't really, I just made it sound like it was a male dominated industry. I don't think it is. It's probably not your experience, right? Maybe, but you just have to be secure and confident, and I wouldn't even think about being a woman,
Yeah, just don't let that
don't
be
even like that be a factor.
That shouldn't be a
Don't
barrier
even
to
see
you.
that. Just be confident, and that's all that it takes.
Yeah, Claire, what was your experience like?
So I worked in big law in Chicago, and it was very difficult, but it was also such a fun experience. It was really cool to be part of such a huge team, and I very much enjoyed that. So I think one thing your daughter should focus on is, does she want to be part of a huge team like that? Or does she want to, stick with something smaller and more intimate practice-wise? I will say that I had a woman say to me once, you can have it all, but you cannot have it all at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, my mom said that all the time. Yes, that was her favorite thing to say. Yeah.
And I really did, I guess, finally figure that out when I had my first child, because I was working as part of a big team across the country, multiple offices. And I so wanted to be 100% mom, and I so wanted to be 100% lawyer. And the idea of a work-life balance to me implies that I would ever be 50% lawyer and 50% mom. And that's not me. That's not who I am. So I think that's something that women do have to keep in mind, is that the work-life balance might be something we were sold that doesn't always work out the way we anticipate it.
And one day it may be 90% work, 10% mom, and then one day it can flip the other way too. So just knowing that the balance doesn't always have to be equal,
Right.
It just has to be it's just a balance. Yeah.
It's about finding a firm where they are willing to let you have those days, right? Where, earlier this week, our kids were off school for several days. Thank goodness, Andrea and I work from home, and so we can be flexible. But if I'd had to go into the office and be there all day long, or do depositions or something to that effect, it definitely would have, I don't honestly know what I would have done, because I don't have family here, and my kids aren't old enough to stay at home by themselves yet.
Well, and that's always been something that I've said, and I've been very, very blessed that with Willow and Soul to Soul, that I try, for the most part, to base my schedule around Natalie. My day doesn't start until I drop her off at school. My day might end at 3 when I pick her up from school. I don't know how real moms with real jobs does it.
Yeah.
And I've been so blessed that we've been able to have this her entire life. But there are those moments where, this week we have been at the house. Well, when we had the snowstorm, the ice storm, we were at the house for 4 days with no school. What are you supposed to do when you don't have family? You don't have flexibility. That's always been something where I'm like, I don't know how. I can't even fathom what that would be like to be a mom in that type of
When
situation.
Katie was younger, I would just text my boss and be like, it's bring your daughter to work day, or else I'm not coming to work. That's what it is. And it's, iPad and coloring books and snacks in the corner of my office while I sit there and work. And I think that also shows your kids, though, that hey, I'm doing the best I can, right? This might not be ideal for either one of us, but we're just doing the best we can to get through this situation.
I think, I agree with that. And I think that in those kind of times, you just have to be gentle on yourself, cut yourself a break, let some plates fall, if they have to, because you can't do all the things perfectly all the time. And so you just have to give yourself some grace.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to ask you guys our 3 favorite questions we ask all of our guests. We'll be right back.
Together I can't take us for you. Hey, I know you, I can't take us for you.
Looking for deeper self-discovery and emotional growth? Soul to Soul Connection offers supportive space where horses help you understand your inner world in ways traditional talk therapy can't. Our certified professionals guide you through meaningful experiences that foster reflection, healing, and renewed perspective. Best of all, these services are offered at low or no cost for veterans, first responders, and their families. Learn more at healingwithhorseslkn.org and start your journey toward greater well-being today.
Shake things up, Lake Norman. Great design for you is here. We bring luxury interior design to life, specializing in stunning kitchen and bath renovations. From conception to completion, we handle every detail. Every project is unique. Our expertise makes the difference. Visit our downtown Mooresville studio by booking your 100% risk-free appointment today at greatdesignforyou.com. Design beyond your dreams.
Lake Norman Woman podcast. All right, your business name, Wise Covington PLLC, is the law firm, right? Yes. You have a very unique tagline. Tell us what it is and tell us how you came up with it.
I'm going to let Andrea tell us because it was her brilliant stroke of genius and I'm obsessed with it.
Our tagline is legally sound, financially stable, and it's a play on words. Legally sound because horses need to be sound or else they're lame, and financially stable. Horse barn stable. Yeah.
I love that. I think that's so neat, unique, and Katie, you were saying in the break too, like when you come up with that spark, that idea that like it just kind of drives you forward, you know?
It gets you excited, just like that. Like I love it.
And
when you say it, like horse people are like, "Oh, that's a good one."
I was so excited to text her.
Yeah.
I was so excited when I got it.
That. Well, that's like our tagline for Lake Norman Woman is celebrating the success of women, and it's just women, right? It's not women in business. It's not women entrepreneurs. It's not women who are, the biggest, brightest star. It's just the success of women, and I love that because it really does bring everybody in. That's what we're trying to do, and so I love that for you guys. All right, our three favorite questions we ask all our guests. I'm gonna start with you, Claire.
Okay.
What's your favorite thing about Lake Norman?
So I guess I have a little bit of an advantage here because we actually lived on Lake Norman for several years before we moved down to Charlotte proper. So hope this is okay. Epic Chop House.
Chop House?
Yes, Epic Chop
Are they
House.
a sponsor?
No,
they like to.
They should be. Epic Chop House is so good.
It is so good. So I said I was in Chicago before, and I am absolutely a meat eater, and so I love steak. And it was so fun to come down here because when we were in Mooresville, there were not a whole lot of food options at the time. I think there was one Chinese restaurant and Domino's Pizza, and that was about the extent of it. Yep. So when we found Epic Chop House, I mean, I felt like I had come home.
You arrived, right?
It was wonderful.
Absolutely.
So that is probably one of my favorite things about the Lake Norman area. And then honestly, just being able to, I'd get to go ride my horse in the morning, log in, do my work during the middle of the day, and then we could go out on the boat in the afternoon. So it felt like there were a lot of really nice outdoor opportunities in this area.
Yeah.
Sounds like a perfect day to me.
That does.
It was.
Day.
I had
like
many
a really
of them.
fun day. Andrea, what's yours?
Mine's more of a memory. I remember being 19 or 20, and it was summer break, and I remember driving to Edisto Island in South Carolina with a friend whose parents had rented a house for 2 weeks, and we were coming from West Virginia, and we had just done like 4 hours of boring traffic, and then we got to what was Lake Norman. And of course we were stopped because everybody stops at Lake Norman, the traffic. And we were like, oh, wow, this is so pretty. Like, what is this, And then right down the road, it opened up and you could see the Charlotte skyline. Yeah. And we were like, what is that? And my friend's like, I think that's Charlotte. Like, I didn't even really know Charlotte. And of course the skyline was much different, however, 25 years ago or more. And, so it's just funny because at that time I had no idea, like Charlotte wasn't even on my radar that I would live there in 9 years. Mm-hmm. So for me, Lake Norman is kind of like that memory of welcome to Charlotte.
Yeah.
Welcome home.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't even know it was going to be home, but
I just didn't even know.
You just had a
Charlotte.
feeling whenever you saw it that there's something special about this place. Yeah. I love that. Okay. What is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received? Either one of you guys can jump in.
Do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
There is a saying that I read that says you can't steer a parked car, which means you have to start moving before you can find the right direction. And I think that's so hard for many people, especially women, because we want everything to be perfect before we start. Perfect timing, perfect life situation. And sometimes you just got to start. You got to start moving, make adjustments, learn as you go. And, you know, obviously I'm an attorney, so I want everyone to protect themselves legally, but you just really can't let the pursuit of perfection hinder your progress. So I love that saying.
And that's a hard one,
It's so hard.
especially for maybe type A people.
Maybe.
Whereas like you're building something, you want it to be, it's a representation of you, but you want it to have the impact that you know it's going to have. You want everything perfect. And it is never going to
Timing
be
is never perfect, right?
It's never
Right.
going to be perfect.
No, it's never going to be, the timing never going to be, it's never
Never.
going to be perfect. Even when you feel like the year, like you said, the year of the horse, right? That's just the universe is like
Exactly.
push to like get you to the next
Exactly.
level. But even then you'd be like, okay, maybe, but then you second guess yourself
And
too.
it's hard. When you're a perfectionist, it's hard.
Yeah. Us type A girls.
There might be
Type
4 of
A,
us
hello.
sitting.
Yeah, there may be 4 of us
here.
sitting in the room right now. It's tough. It's really, it is tough though. It's tough to be like, what if? And so my mom would always say like, but what if it works?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. You gotta just do it.
Yep. You gotta just do it. All right, Claire, what's your advice?
Well, I have 2, if I can share 2.
You can share 2. We'll let you.
Andrea gave me a pair of socks a few years ago that I thought had really good advice on them.
I'm so afraid right now.
Socks.
It probably is dirty or has
That's
curse
what you
words
said.
or something.
Yes,
It's not
right?
that bad. They say, shh, I'm overthinking. And those are a really good reminder to me to live in the moment and stop overthinking everything. Again, coming back to the attorney thing, I do try to think everything through and plan for all possible contingencies.
That's why she's good.
And thank you. But those socks are a perfect reminder that sometimes I need to just live in the moment and let it happen and see where life takes me. And so I really appreciate that message.
I am 100% an overthinker, and I've been having to buy new furniture for our house. And so I went to like the design studio, and there were like a billion options there to choose from. And I was like, it's too much. I'm just going to go with my gut. And she was like, this is the fastest anybody's ever picked out furniture in their life. And I was like, because I can't, if I stop and look at like 23 different fabrics and then this different layout and then these pillows, it's going to be too
I'm
much.
overwhelmed and I'm done.
I'm so overwhelmed. And so I was like, it's just furniture. It's not the end of the world. But there are some decisions that are like big life decisions. But the overthinking is definitely something that I would say probably everybody here in this room thinks about sometimes too. Yeah.
Agreed. And then the other one is my dad once told me, the worst someone can ever tell you is no.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think
love
that's
that.
really good advice that I share with my daughters on a regular basis. Don't be afraid to ask, because honestly, the worst someone's going to tell you is no.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
That's great advice. Yeah. Both.
And
they both
those are
work
complete
together.
sentence. And that's
So
fine
that's
too.
the advice Katie gave me, is that no is a complete sentence. And I think that's so
Oh, I
smart.
like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
You
carry
don't
that
have
one
to
with me a
explain.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
He doesn't have to have a comma with a billion things after it.
dissertation
Yeah. He could just be like, no.
We don't have to overthink our explanation
That's
of why
right. I
we're
love
saying
that.
no. It's just like, nope.
Exactly.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Core values. Andrea, what's one of your core values?
One of my core values is also a pet peeve, I realized.
Oh, no.
Pet peeves of yours?
Of mine.
Core value. And, oh, right. This is a
Yeah.
first.
This
I
is a
think.
first.
I don't
Well,
remember
Well,
how
leave
to
it
give
to
us
me,
the
I
first.
guess.
I love this one.
And it's
Overthinking
integrity. Integrity. And I don't mean just being honest. I mean doing what you say you're going to do, even if no one's watching. Because I hate when like people let you down or say they're going to do something. Just like, just do it. Make it happen, you know? Because I think the reality is you really can be the smartest person in the room. But if people don't trust you, like believe in what you're saying, it really doesn't matter.
Right.
So to me, integrity is important.
And then the pet peeve part is just
Well,
the
it
people
just
who
bothers
aren't-
me. Yeah, like
who
when
aren't that
people
way.
let you down, like when they say they're going to do something and they don't. Because, you know, we all have things that come up and it's hard to like follow through on some of your responsibilities, but I really try to like make it work if I've said I'm going to do something. So
Yeah. And Claire, what's yours?
Well, it ties in with that. Transparency. And, you know, no one's perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. I can think of an instance earlier on in our friendship where I promised to do something and then forgot to do it. And Andrea called me out on it. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
is it Alfie? That's kind of a big one. Though.
But I mean, owning it and just saying, you know what, I screwed up and I'm sorry.
And you did, yeah. You
and
did say
I
that.
did say that because There was no way to get around it. It was true. I had made a mistake. And so being transparent about the fact that I'd made that mistake and then just owning it and moving forward.
I think
Integrity.
Yeah.
It's
And I
pretty
think
much
that
the same
trust,
thing, I guess,
that
yeah.
trust
Yeah.
factor too of like, if you make a mistake and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, that is my mistake. It won't happen again. You know, like I'm going to learn from this. It won't happen again. Or, you know, it just honest mistakes happen, right? That's why they're called
course,
mistakes.
yeah.
They're not called on purposes.
No, it's
you
definitely
know?
not. Yeah, exactly.
And so when you're honest with it, instead of trying to cover it up,
Yes.
Yeah.
but just being honest and straightforward and being like, I'm so sorry, it was my
Because
mistake.
it totally diffuses also a potential situation. Because if, you know, you would have lied about that particular thing, which I feel like a normal reaction would be to want to kind of cover it up, you know, it would have, you know, been worse. But because she, you know, owned it, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, well, I get it. So, you know, don't worry about it.
Right. And then we figure out how to fix it together or we
and
come
then
with a
going
solution
forward,
and
you know
moving
that
forward.
there's honesty and trust there. So
It does. That builds the trust,
Yeah,
right? Even though there
totally.
was an accident, like being honest about why it happened builds that trust.
Well, and
with
even
each
the
other.
transparency of like forgetting,
Yes.
but also if we don't know. If I don't know,
Agreed.
give me time to research it. Let me call a friend. Let me admit that I don't know or
Yes.
I don't want to do something or I'm not sure. Let me be honest about that.
Yes.
And then we can still move forward, like you
Yeah.
said, with that trust factor, because sometimes it's as simple as like, I don't know, like I have no idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is something they taught us in law school was if you were standing in front of a judge and you don't have the answer, don't BS it, right?
Right.
Don't make something up because you're probably going to be wrong and the judge is going to
You're
know
gonna be
more than you.
embarrassed for sure, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, you know, giving someone an answer of, I don't have an answer to that right now, but I'm going to do the research and I'm going to circle back and give you an answer.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that means more than the BSing because it means you're committed to us. You're committed to finding the answers and you're going to come back with more information than if you had talked your way through it.
Right.
And then
here.
there's your integrity and your transparency.
Your transparency
So, yes.
and that trust factor just continues to build. All right, we do have a bonus question this season. I don't think I told you guys about this either, did I? Because by the looks on your face, I think I forgot to tell you guys.
They might be
Type
like,
A,
I'm being
not
honest
like
and
it.
transparent, but I'm sorry I forgot to mention our
You can
bonus
handle this
question.
one. I
But
know
it's
you
an
both
easy
can.
one, I promise. Something you're excited about. It can be personally, professionally. It can be anything in the world. But what's something that you're excited about for this year?
I got one that's both.
Okay.
And I think you are going to maybe share that in this. Cool. Claire and I are going in a month to Wellington, Florida, which is a big showground, like winter series. And we're going to go with a friend of ours and support her riding at the horse show and, you know, hopefully make some business contacts. But more importantly, being in hopefully 85-degree weather, which,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes,
sounds
that's
amazing.
definitely something
right?
to be
I'm gonna
excited
come with
about.
y'all.
I
Yes,
know,
please
yes. You have
come.
room in the car. I'm on my way.
So we're just excited about that. Claire's never been, so I'm excited to show her because it's just like beautiful. It's, you know, in Palm Beach, so
Nice.
you know.
Oh,
love it.
gorgeous
You'll
down
love
there.
it.
Yes, yes.
It'll be a nice time to have an adult trip too, to get away for just a little while. I'm excited about the business, honestly. I agree with everything Andrea said. You know, the year of the fire horse is this year. And it did feel like the universe was saying, come on, take the leap, go for it. The worst anyone can say is no at this point. So let's give it a try. So I'm really excited about the business taking off. And I do think it will because it's such a niche environment and there's such a need for it because we want to help people protect themselves. I didn't go to law school and become a lawyer to be super rich because that's not how you get super rich anymore. We all know that. I went because I wanted to help people. I didn't know exactly what that looked like going into it, but I knew I wanted to help people. And so I think equestrians are people that I can really relate to and that I understand what their needs are. And I'm hoping that we can help people with the firm.
I think what your partnership shows too, right? While you're both staying in the field of law, you're definitely taking a pivot in a different direction. And ladies, it's never too late. Whether
Never too late.
you take your skills, you take your passions, you figure out what you want that to look like, and then you put those together to kind of pivot to where you want to go. Because even for me, the background that I have in TV, and I'd never run a magazine before, but when the opportunity came, I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I'll do it. You know, the worst that could happen is it doesn't work out and I find something else, but at least I know that I tried it and I tried to do something different and unique and fun. And just like with what you started too, you know, you would you're not a mental health therapist, but you knew you had the passion and the other skills that you needed to kind of put this together.
And I knew
too.
the world needed it. And I think that's the piece of when you know in your heart that it's needed, you know, there's going to be a ton of education and explaining and transparency of this is why you need to do X, Y, and Z. This is why we're here. But you do it with a compassionate heart. It makes it understandable and relatable. And so to be able to say, okay, like, yeah, I think I need a contract. Can y'all help me? Well, then they can have the conversations with you. And that's what brings that compassion to everything. Is a part of us. We unfortunately cannot get rid of this. This is who we are.
Absolutely. All right. If people want to reach out to you, ask questions, what's the best way for them to contact you guys?
We have a website, www.wisecovington.com. We're on Instagram at Legally Sound.
Also email. Our first names at wisecovington.com.
I love it.
And, you know, we do a free consult at the beginning. So we'll give free legal advice, talk about your issues, if we can help you. It's just really easy to sign up on our website. And
Very nice. All right. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us. I learned so much today. I love it. I love what you guys are doing. I love that you're doing it together and that you're using your passions and your skills to do something that you love. So
it's so neat for me because I've known these ladies for 15 years and literally seen all the different chapters in your life. And so it's neat to have y'all here on this couch sharing where y'all are at now.
Very, very nice to meet you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us on the podcast today. And we'll be back next week with another fantastic episode of the Lake Norman Woman podcast.
Have a great week.